What's cracking, guys? Bruce Matson here, your host of the show, Metric Scout Fantasy Football. Yesterday, I dropped a rookie mock draft. I said, hit me with 50 likes, and I'll give you another three-rounder, lickety-split. And guess what? You guys paid up. That means I got to drop a three-round rookie mock draft. I'm doing that right now, today. Three-rounder, 1 QB. I figure I'd hit you up with some 1 QB mock drafts because I've been doing a lot of super flex lately. Might as well give you some 1 QB looks. It gets you more skill players anyways. We kind of got a feel of the quarterback, so it makes a lot of sense. And plus, a lot more people playing 1 QB leagues than what the census on social media or whatever thinks. I play in a lot of 1 QB leagues. I play in a lot of super flex. I'm all over the place, so I understand. I do not sit in one area. So I like to mix it up too. Let me know what you like though. You Superflex Dynasty, 1 QB, 2 QB, big time leagues where you got like 20, 25 teams in it where it's 1 QB, but the quarterbacks are valued more heavily. Whatever it is, just let me know in the comments. But we're going to get it started here. 3 rounds, 1 QB mock draft. Let's go. We're here with the first round of this rookie mock draft, and we're going to read off the picks real quick, and then I'll go over the round. So at the 101 here, we drafted Breece Hall, running back from Iowa State. At the 102, they drafted Treylon Burks, wide receiver from Arkansas. At the 103, they selected Kenneth Walker, running back from Michigan State. At 104, they drafted Drake London, wide receiver from USC. At 105, they selected Garrett Wilson, wide receiver from Ohio State. At 106, they drafted Jameson Williams, wide receiver from Alabama. At 107, they took Chris Olave, wide receiver from Ohio State. At 108, they selected Jahan Dotson, wide receiver from Penn State. At the 109, they drafted George Pickens, wide receiver from Georgia. At 110, they drafted Sky Moore, wide receiver from Western Michigan. At 111, they drafted Isaiah Spiller, running back from Texas A&M. And at the 112 spot, they drafted Zamir White. The beginning of this draft, the beginning of this round went pretty to par here. Breece Hall 101. You're going to see that on every single 1 QB rookie mock draft. You're going to rarely see him fall past that point. Treylon Burks 102. We got the big 3 wide receivers. We're seeing them flipped and flopped a lot. It's your preference. A lot of people have Treylon Burks as the wide receiver 1. A lot of people has Drake London as the wide receiver 1. A lot of people has Garrett Wilson as the wide receiver 1. And Jameson Williams is kind of a wild card because he's going to be drafted in the back half of the first round. We got some big teams with some explosive offenses back there. He could be going to one of those. That could bump him up a bit. And at the 106 spot, tends to go in this range, but a little later. The surprise pick here is Jahan Dotson at 108. There are a slew of people that like him a lot, and they're not afraid to draft him. I like him at the discount and the second rounds, especially when some of my guys are off the board. I'll start looking his way. George Pickens at the 109. We're starting to see him be a lot more in the first round the deeper we get into the draft season, which is good to hear, but not good for us. You really want to get him in the second round. Sky Moore too. I like him a lot. A lot of people like him, and we're going to see him get drafted higher than what we've been seeing him getting drafted like in February, January, and stuff like that. He's been slowly creeping up the board. Zamir White in the first round. We don't see that too much. We don't see that too often at all. Sometimes he slips past the second round. Here at the 112 spot, someone pulled that trigger on him. And if he gets the draft capital, this could be where he goes in most drafts. Isaiah Spiller's falling. Last draft I covered, he was at the 110. Usually it's like 107 to 110 range. 111 here is one of the latest I've seen him drafted. I saw a mock draft on Twitter the other day. I don't know who ran it, but he fell to the second round. He is falling in value right now as we speak. Isaiah Spiller is a player to watch because anything can happen. He could fall in the draft. He could get drafted higher than expected, go to a good team, and his value just shoots up back up the board. That could happen. But let's move on to round 2. Let's see what these jabronis drafted here. So at the 201 spot, they selected Rachaad White, running back from Arizona State. At the 202, they drafted Brian Robinson, running back from Alabama. Then at the 203, they selected Christian Watson, wide receiver from North Dakota State. Then at 204, they drafted David Bell, wide receiver from Purdue. At the 205 spot, they drafted Malik Willis, quarterback from Liberty. At 206, they drafted Dameon Pierce, running back from Florida. At 207, John Mechie, wide receiver from Alabama. 208, Trey McBride, tight end from Colorado State. At 209, they selected Justin Ross, wide receiver from Clemson. At 210, they selected Pierre Strong, running back from South Dakota State. At 211, they selected Alec Pierce, wide receiver from Cincinnati. At 212, they selected Kevin Harris, running back from South Carolina. This second round was very ambiguous, and you should expect that in the second, third, and fourth round of this year's drafts. It'll get more locked down once we get landing spots, but Rachaad White's going anywhere from like the 105 to the 205. He's going all over the place, and the reason for that is we do not know where he's going to go in the draft. It sounds like Big Draft is telling us that he may fall a bit. However, there's some metrics in his profile that indicates he could be a good fantasy asset, so that's bumping him up in drafts as well. Brian Robinson could get high draft capital, so he got the trigger pulled at the 202 spot here. Christian Watson's been going high in mock drafts lately. He's been getting mocked in real mock drafts in around the first round. So this is a speculative pick. Just see where he goes. David Bell's one of my guys. I like him a lot. I would select him over Christian Watson. I would probably put him at the 201 here. Maybe even throw him up in the first round. I feel like he's being slept on still. With Malik Willis being drafted in the middle of the second round, that's a lot better price tag than a first rounder and 1 QB. However, I would like to get him a little cheaper. I would like to get him a little farther down, maybe 210 range, 212. I would like to get him a little cheaper than that. But considering he's a quarterback with the Konami code, we saw what Jalen Hurts did or is doing, I can't fault anyone pulling the trigger on Malik Willis a little earlier than expected as well, because right now we're in the jabroni part of the second round where these guys are more than likely not going to hit. Dameon Pierce, another speculative running back prospect who's going to be a mid to late rounder. We got to see where he goes, but showed some promise, so I can't hate on the pick there. John Mechie's going to get higher draft capital than expected. I love Justin Ross. They slept on him here. He should have been drafted a little bit higher. I am drafting Justin Ross till the NFL tells me not to, and when they tell me not to, I'm just going to be buying dips, so I'll just buy him in the third round or buy him in the fourth round. Pick him up off waivers. I'm getting Justin Ross. I like Pierre Strong. I like him a lot. I never thought of pulling the trigger on him in the second round, usually third or fourth round as the late round guy I'm going after. I love his prospect profile from production to athleticism. 210 is a little rich, and the draft's probably going to tell us that. But if we're going to speculate on talent, I don't hate this at all. I kind of wish I had the balls to put him at 210. Alec Pierce at 211, no. Nope. There's other guys I'd rather have. Kevin Harris, somebody who watches this show was in this draft. I guarantee it, because Kevin Harris has been in the comments since day one. People chatting him up. Kevin Harris going at 212. That's the highest I've seen him mocked in all these mock drafts. And I'm just going to tip my hat to this person. Friend of the show, Kevin Harris. He's going to be a friend of this show forever due to you guys mentioning him in the comments every single time. But that's it for the second round. Let's move on down to round number 3, and let's read these guys off. So at the 301, they drafted James Cook, running back from Georgia. At 302, Khalil Shakir, wide receiver from Boise State. 303, Kenny Pickett, quarterback from Pitt. 304, Wan'Dale Robinson, wide receiver from Kentucky, formerly from Nebraska. At 305, Tyler Batty, running back from Missouri. At 306, Jalen Tolbert, wide receiver from South Alabama. At 307, Jerome Ford, running back from Cincy. At 308, Matt Corral, quarterback from Ole Miss. 309, Tyler Algier, running back from BYU. 310, Greg Dulcich, tight end from UCLA. 311, Keontae Ingram from USC, formerly from Texas. And at 312, to finish off this mock draft, Desmond Ridder, quarterback from Cincinnati. Round 3 here can be titled the quarterback round. This is where we saw the quarterbacks go, and I like seeing quarterbacks in the 3rd round of 1 QB mocks. This is where the value can be had for those guys, especially those back-end quarterbacks. I love Matt Corral at 308. Desmond Ridder at 312 is fine, because once you get to the 4th round, those picks are usually junk. So get you a quarterback who could probably give you something for your offense. Kenny Pickett as well. We're talking about 1st-round prospects that you can get in the 3rd round of drafts. That's better than spending a 2nd-round pick. That's way better than spending a 1st-round pick. 3rd round, 4th round, usually when I'm going after my quarterbacks in 1 QB of rookie drafts. And I'll let the other managers in my league draft the top quarterbacks in the first couple rounds. I'll let that happen. You'll get guys like Josh Allen, Mac Jones, those other quarterbacks that will give you some production, and you'll get them at a big discount here. A lot of times they'll miss, but when those quarterbacks whiff, guess what? You ain't whiffing on much, because that's just a 3rd round pick that's usually not going to amount to anything anyways. James Cook, 301. I think that's a great price tag for him. Wan'Dale Robinson's a big discount considering his production profile. I wouldn't draft him over guys like Justin Ross or David Bell or anything like that, but at 304, I think that's a big-time discount. We have some running backs in here, Tyler Algier, Jerome Ford. Those guys could get drafted higher than expected. They could land in good spots that could allow them to be productive. They could be gems in this class. We're going to have these running backs somewhere. We have a slew of them, of these running backs who have good things in their profile, but are not perfect. They're going to go in rounds like 3 to 5 or whatever, and one of them's going to hit, and you're just going to have to take your shots randomly on them, because they all have good things in their profile. They all got things they can do to allow them to be successful. Tyler Algier is a banger back who's got a good size-adjusted athleticism. Jerome Ford, good high school recruits, went from Alabama to Cincy, did well this year, catch the ball in the backfield, has some pop in his stat. Tyler Batty can catch the ball in the backfield. James Cook's got some burst, can catch the ball in the backfield. All these guys got a little bit of things in their profile that allow them to be productive. You're just going to have to shoot your shot and see who lands for you, see what happens, take the ones you like the best, especially in the 3rd round here. This is where I'm really going to be shooting my shot on the running backs, unless one of those wide receivers that are one of my guys falls to me. I like Jalen Tolbert as well, one of my favorite small school prospects. And Keontae Ingram here, he is one of the running backs I'm hoping to land in the 4th or 5th round of rookie drafts. I feel like he's going to slip in the actual NFL draft. It'll be a good value. I like his skill set. I like him as a good speculative asset to invest in, just to see what happens. And the sunk cost isn't there, so if it doesn't hit, then no big deal to me. But I like what I saw from him at Texas and at USC, and I feel like he can transition to the NFL game given the opportunity. I think at his price point, why not? Why not just see what happens with him? We also have Greg Dulcich. I like a 3rd round tight end better than a 2nd round tight end due to the cost and due to the length it takes for a tight end to develop. We're going to have some tight ends in the 4th round you can get too in this year's draft. This year's draft is not too bad for tight end. We'll know more about them once we get to the actual NFL draft. But from a talent perspective, we have a slew of guys that we can invest in, throw in our taxi squad for a little bit, and see what happens with them as well. The tight end spot isn't too bad to invest in, and it's kind of deep, so you can get some tight ends in the 4th round of rookie drafts if that's something you're into, which is something I'd rather do than pay a 2nd round rookie pick for or a 1st rounder. Really depends on the situation though, but usually I'd rather go a little cheaper due to the time of development. And with the 2nd round rookie pick, I can get a decent veteran, maybe like a Mike Gesicki or something like that, depending on my league, depending on how those managers are valuing those players. But the 2nd round rookie pick can get me a veteran tight end that I can know that I can get production for in 2022, 2023, and so forth. So that's how I like to play that strategy. But that's what I got for this 3-round rookie mock draft. Let me know in the comments who got overdrafted, who fell, and whatever else that crossed your mind. But before you head out, make sure you hit that subscribe button on the way out. Every subscription matters. It fuels me to keep dropping this content, fuels me to keep getting you ready for them rookie drafts, because they're going to be here before you know it. And I'm always here to help you out with your Dynasty teams. If you don't hit that subscribe button, then you're going to miss out, because somebody in your league is going to start watching this show, and they're going to start leveling up. You're going to be there wondering what happened. But again, I want to thank you, and I'll catch you next time.